If someone stops talking to you right after a boundary, that silence is speaking. And what it's saying is, I want control without looking like the aggressor here. The silent treatment is not distance, maturity, or self-control. It is pressure. It is a punishment designed to make you feel anxious enough to return to compliance. And if you've ever apologized just to end the tension, it already worked. That's why this pattern feels so confusing. Nothing is happening, but everything is happening. You can feel your body waiting for a text, a look, a normal tone. You replay the last conversation, searching for the exact moment you became punishable. And because they are saying nothing, you start saying everything inside your own head. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I should explain better. Maybe I pushed too hard. That spiral is not an accident. It's part of what the silence was built to create. And once you understand that, you stop chasing peace from people who manufacture confusion. Because healthy space feels clear, even if it hurts. Manipulative silence feels contaminated. A healthy person might say, I need time, I'll come back tomorrow. A controlling person disappears, then watches your nervous system do the labor for them. That's why the silent treatment is never actually silent. It is loaded communication. It says, feel bad, lose balance, chase me, prove yourself and earn access again. It says, your discomfort matters less than my need to stay in control. And the worst part is, it often comes from people you genuinely love. A partner goes cold after you question a lie or challenge disrespect. A parent stops answering because you couldn't drop everything and meet their demand. A friend turns distant when you stop oversharing details they used to weaponize. A boss suddenly becomes unavailable after you set a limit around after-hours contact. Different people, same move. They pull away to make you crawl toward them. And if you grew up around unpredictable moods, this hits even harder. Because your body learned early that connection could disappear without warning, explanation, or fairness. So now silence doesn't feel neutral. It feels like danger wearing a calm face. You don't just feel ignored. You feel emotionally summoned to fix something fast. That's why weak advice doesn't help here. Just ignore them sounds simple and useless. Your nervous system is already hooked into the tension. Pretending otherwise won't free you. You need language for what is happening and strategy for what happens next. First, understand the goal. The goal was rarely reflection. The goal was leverage. Real reflection sounds like, I need a minute, but I'll talk later. The silent treatment sounds like absence, but it behaves like a trap. It removes normal contact while leaving one message hanging in the room. You upset me, and now your peace depends on how well you read my punishment. That's why so many people start over explaining after being frozen out. They aren't trying to communicate anymore. They're trying to escape the emotional hostage feeling. They send long texts, softer versions, extra context, and apologies they don't even mean. And the manipulator learns something dangerous. Silence gets results faster than honest conversation. Second, pay attention to when the silence begins. Timing tells you everything. Does it start after you say no, question them, or stop over-accommodating? If their silence follows your self-respect, the silence is about lost access. That's one of the deepest reframes here. Their anger may really mean lost control. Their coldness may mean your compliance is no longer automatic. That changes everything. Their guilt trip may mean your availability is shrinking, and they resent it. Their silence may mean punishment disguised as distance, because direct control would expose them. That's why they often act calm while you feel wrecked. The message is working. And then comes the part most people never get told clearly enough. The silent treatment is not just withdrawal. It is image management too. They get to hurt you while looking passive, wounded, restrained, or morally superior. If they yelled, blamed, or threatened, the aggression will be obvious fast. But silence gives them plausible innocence. They can say, I just needed space. Meanwhile, you were sweating, doubting yourself, scanning every message, and rehearsing imaginary conversations. That's not peace. That's coercion with clean hands and deniable language attached. This is why the silent treatment can feel emotionally violent without a raised voice. It attacks your stability, not your ears. But the impact is still real. Especially if the person knows your history, your fears, or how badly you hate conflict. They know silence will make you come forward and do the repair work. And once you see that, you stop romanticizing their quiet as emotional depth. Sometimes it isn't depth. It's avoidance, entitlement, sulking, control, or cowardice in disguise. Now, here's the nuance that matters. Not every silence is toxic. Intent matters. Some people go quiet because they need regulation before speaking without saying something cruel. That can be healthy if they communicate it and come back responsibly. Silence becomes manipulative when it is used to punish, control, confuse, or dominate. The difference is not volume. The difference is intention, clarity, and accountability. Healthy people may not enjoy your boundary, but they can still handle it. Toxic people treat your boundary like betrayal because it interrupts their preferred access. You say, "I can't talk tonight," and suddenly you're selfish, distant, cold, or changed. Translation: you stopped being easy to use and they felt the loss immediately. That phrase, "you've changed," often means your old availability is no longer guaranteed. And people who benefited from your lack of limits rarely celebrate your growth. They call it selfish when they can no longer spend your energy freely. So when silence follows your limit, don't automatically assume you did something wrong. Sometimes the discomfort you feel is not guilt. It's withdrawal from unhealthy conditioning. That's a powerful distinction because guilt makes you undo boundaries that were actually necessary. And this is where strategy matters more than emotional honesty sometimes too. Not every situation gets healed by one vulnerable conversation. Some require cleaner moves. If a controlling partner freezes you out, stop sending 10 clarifying paragraphs. If a parent goes cold because you said no, don't rush into guilt. If a boss withdraws warmth after you stop replying at midnight, notice the tactic. Your job in these moments is not to restore comfort, it's to read reality. Ask yourself, what changed right before they went silent, colder, or harder to reach? Usually the answer is not, "I became abusive." It's, "I became less convenient." That reframe can save you years of self-blaming, and I mean that. Because many people spend decades trying to become soft enough not to be punished. They keep adjusting tone, timing, phrasing, and personality, hoping the silence won't return. But the problem was never your wording. The problem was their dependency on control. That's why the silent treatment can follow even your kindest, calmest, most respectful limits. Because some people don't react to your tone. They react to your independence. Now let's talk about what to do while it's happening. This part matters. First, pause before you pursue. That urge to fix everything is the hook. If you chase immediately, you confirm that silence is an effective tool against you. Second, say less. Over-explaining gives manipulators more material to twist later. A simple response is stronger than a brilliant defense. Nobody wants to hear. You can say, "I'm available when you're ready to speak respectfully," then stop. Or say, "I'm not discussing this by text, we can talk tomorrow." Or say, "My answer is the same," then do not re-argue it. If they ignore that too, let their silence belong to them fully. Don't rescue the silence with panic, confessions, gifts, or unnecessary emotional labor. That is one of the hardest skills to build, especially for people pleasers. Because you were trained to read tension early and erase it fast. But adulthood asks something new from you. Feel the tension without abandoning yourself. That might mean putting the phone down and letting the unanswered message stay unanswered. It might mean going to bed without sending a final paragraph to save yourself. It might mean showing up at work calm even after your boss turned icy. Keep your tone flat. Keep your words clean. Don't perform distress for approval. That nonverbal steadiness matters because manipulators often feed on visible emotional scrambling. When you stop scrambling, they lose a mirror that used to reassure their power. And yes, sometimes the silence gets worse when it stops working quickly. That does not mean you chose wrong. It means the old system is shaking. A toxic pattern often escalates right before it loses its grip completely. That's why you may get sudden warmth after days of coldness instead. Be careful there. Relief can make manipulation feel like intimacy again fast. You feel grateful just because the punishment ended, not because anything became healthy. That's how unstable dynamics train you to celebrate crumbs like they are love. A healthy person doesn't make you earn normal communication by suffering first. They may need time. They may be upset, but they stay accountable. They don't disappear to make you bleed uncertainty and then return acting generous. That's the deeper truth. The silent treatment is not silence. It's behavioral messaging. It teaches you what happens when you displease someone who feels entitled to you. It says, your access to warmth depends on your obedience, not on mutual respect. And once you hear that message clearly, the spell starts breaking for you. Because then you stop asking, how do I get them back to normal? You start asking, why is my peace still tied to someone else's punishment pattern? That question changes your life because it puts the spotlight back where it belongs. Not on your wording, not on your worth, on the pattern itself. And once you see the pattern, you can respond without begging to be chosen. You can say, "We're not doing this," and step back without another explanation. You can say, "That doesn't work for me," and let the discomfort breathe. You can say no without writing an essay to prove you're still kind. You can hold eye contact, keep your voice even, and decline to chase. That is calm power, not dramatic, not loud, just unavailable for emotional blackmail. And for a lot of people, that will upset the system immediately. Not because you became cruel, but because you became harder to manipulate. If this pattern has been in your family, expect guilt to show up fast. Someone may say, "After all I've done for you, this is how you act." Hear the translation. "I lost automatic access and now I'm calling it disrespect." If it shows up at work, the language needs to be cleaner. You can say, "I'm available during work hours," or "Please send requests by email." No defensiveness, no extra softness, no speech about your intentions, just the limit. That's important because manipulators often use your explanations as handles, not as understanding. The more you explain, the more places they have to twist guilt and delay. Clarity protects you better than convincing ever will, especially with people committed to misunderstanding. And maybe the hardest truth is this: their silence was never proof you were wrong. Sometimes it was proof you finally touched the place where their control lives. The part of them that needs you uncertain, reaching, careful, and easy to manage. So if you're in that silence right now, breathe before you interpret it. Don't turn their tactic into your identity. Don't let their withdrawal define your worth. You are not difficult because someone punishes limits they used to ignore. You are not selfish because someone's control stopped feeling like love to you. You are not wrong for wanting calm, direct, respectful communication that is basic. And you do not need to audition for decency by absorbing emotional punishment. Let people reveal what they do when access gets limited. Believe that data. It will tell you more truth than their sweet words ever did. If this hit home, tell me where you've seen this pattern most. And if you're done chasing people who go cold to stay powerful, stay here. Protecting your peace starts when their silence stops deciding your next move.